Most people believe that overthinking is a sign of intelligence, that thinking too much means you are careful, aware, even wise. But what if the truth is far more unsettling than that? What if overthinking is not clarity, but quiet chaos happening beneath the surface of a calm mind? You've probably felt it before. Lying in bed, replaying conversations that already ended, analyzing words that no one else even remembers, imagining outcomes that may never happen. You tell yourself you're just trying to understand, just trying to get it right. But somehow it never feels like enough. The mind keeps going. One thought becomes 10, 10 become 100. And suddenly, you are trapped inside your own head. There is a psychological truth many people don't realize. The brain is not designed to solve every problem instantly. It is designed to detect threats. And when you overthink, your brain treats uncertainty like danger. Studies in cognitive psychology suggest that overthinking is closely linked to anxiety and the brain's attempt to predict and control the future. But here's what's hidden beneath that surface. Overthinking is not really about thinking too much. It's about feeling too much and not knowing where to put those feelings. So the mind steps in, trying to organize emotions it cannot fully understand. Think about the person who replays a simple conversation over and over. It's not the words that matter. It's the fear of being judged, the fear of being misunderstood, the fear of not being enough. And so the mind searches for answers that don't exist. Then there is the quiet perfectionist, the one who cannot make a decision without questioning every possible outcome. Not because they are incapable, but because they are afraid of making the wrong choice and living with regret. Their thoughts don't slow down because their standards don't either. And beneath that, there is often a deeper layer. Past experiences that taught the mind that mistakes come with consequences, that being wrong leads to pain, rejection, or loss. So the brain adapts. It thinks more, analyzes more, prepares more, believing that this will protect you. But protection slowly turns into paralysis. Even small decisions start to feel heavy. Even simple moments feel complicated. And then there is control. The illusion that if you just think long enough, you can prevent bad things from happening. You plan conversations before they occur. You imagine every scenario. You try to stay one step ahead of life, but life does not follow scripts. And the more you try to control it, the more your thoughts spiral. Overthinking becomes a habit, not because it helps, but because it feels safer than letting go. And maybe the hardest part to admit is this. Sometimes overthinking feels productive. It feels like you are doing something, solving something, improving something. But in reality, you are often just circling the same thoughts, wearing yourself out without moving forward. And deep down, you know it. You feel the exhaustion, the mental noise, the quiet frustration of wanting peace, but not knowing how to find it. But what if overthinking is not the real problem? What if it is only a symptom of something deeper? What if your mind is not working against you, but trying, in its own way, to protect you from something you haven't fully faced? This is where the perspective begins to shift. Because when you look closely, overthinking is often a signal of unresolved emotions, a signal of fear that hasn't been acknowledged, a signal that your mind does not feel safe enough to be still. And when you understand this, the question changes. Instead of asking, how do I stop thinking so much? You begin to ask, what am I avoiding by thinking this much? And the answers are not always obvious. Sometimes it is the discomfort of uncertainty, not knowing how things will turn out. Sometimes it is the fear of judgment, the silent pressure to be seen in a certain way. And sometimes it is the inability to trust yourself, to believe that you can handle whatever comes next without needing to predict it first. So how do you begin to change something that feels automatic? It starts quietly. Not by forcing your mind to stop, but by creating space between you and your thoughts. By noticing them without immediately believing them. A thought is not always the truth. It is often just a possibility your mind is exploring. And not every possibility deserves your attention. Then there is the shift from control to acceptance. Life will always have uncertainty. No amount of thinking can remove that. But when you slowly allow yourself to accept that uncertainty, something changes. The pressure to figure everything out begins to fade. And with it, the need to overthink every detail. And finally, there is the practice of grounding yourself in the present moment. Because overthinking lives in the future and the past. It rarely exists in the now. When you bring your attention back to what is real, what is happening right in front of you, the mind has less space to wander into endless loops. It is not about silencing your thoughts completely. It is about no longer letting them control you. And maybe the most powerful realization of all is this: your mind is not your enemy. It is a tool. But like any tool, it can either build or overwhelm, depending on how you use it. Overthinking does not mean you are broken. It means you have learned to rely on your mind in a world that often feels uncertain. But peace does not come from thinking everything through. It comes from knowing when to let go. Because in the end, the people who find the most clarity are not the ones who think the most. They are the ones who understand which thoughts are worth holding on to and which ones are better left behind.